Hi guys. So in this session, we'll be discussing about collection framework. So we have learned about all the Java 8 features and all those new things which we have learned. So you might have started implementing those features, right? So we have missed with streams API. Okay. So that stream API will be done after learning about the collections because stream works on collections objects only. Okay. So if it will be there in the Java 8 module only, but you can go through it after going through collection because you will after that only will be able to understand. Okay. So coming to collection. So what is a collection actually? So collection, maybe you can think of like collection of objects. Okay. So you can have 8 to 10 balls. Okay. Tennis balls you can have, and you can collect them together. So you can tell that I am having collection of tennis balls. So that is, you can term it as a collection. Okay. So collection is nothing but a collection of things or the individual entities together. If it is grouped together, then it will be called as a collection. Okay. So this is a basic definition of collection. And main thing which we have to learn is why collection came into picture. Okay. Why we are learning about collection. So let me share the screen once. Okay. So basically collection is nothing but a group of individual entities. Okay, collection is nothing but a group of individual entities. Let's suppose you are organizing an event in your college. Okay, so there will be, let's suppose, 100 people coming into your event. So there is one people like that. There are 100 people seated over there, and you have been invited there as a guest speaker. Okay, you have been invited as a guest speaker, so we'll be speaking in front of these 100 people in front of you. So it's a auditorium, and in the auditorium there is a collection of people over there in front of you. So this is called as a collection of people or collection of students who has came there to listen to you. So that is called as a collection here. You can understand it like this. So what is a collection? You can try to look like here. So that student, it may not be like it is, or it should be of, it should be male only, or it should be female only, or the people those who are coming here, they should have, or they should have only 18 years of age, or it should, they should lie between 18 to 20 years. No, right? Any middle-aged person can also come to attend that event to learn from you, correct? Any smaller age student also can come to listen to you. Any old age people can also come to that event to listen to you, right? So there is no age restriction. Okay, there is no gender discrimination. Like any type of people can come to that auditorium, correct? So that means there is no specific restriction to which type of people are coming. So same thing is present in collection as well. So collection is a heterogeneous group of data where there is no fixed data type. Okay, so in if we compare with array, okay, so in array what was happening? In array we were having some data. Okay, fixed data. Like array will have how many content. So we have to initialize array like this, right? In arr equal to new int, let's suppose 6. Okay, so we need to have 6 elements into the array, and we are putting it over here: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I add one more, it will be 7. So I'm adding one more here. Let's suppose it's of 7 types. So I'm adding one more here. So 0 to 6 means total 7 elements are stored here. So in array, I'm considering about array, not collection here. Okay. So in array, what was there? There is a specific size, like up to 7 elements only we can insert it into this block, right? We can't add more than 7 elements because the size is fixed here. Okay. And we can't add any other data type. We have defined with int type. That means it's an integer type data. Okay, so integer type data only can be added over there. Okay, so any other type of data can't be added. So if I want to add string type, if I want to add float type data, if I want to add double type, or any other type of any object type of data like employee object or student object or customer object, it is not possible to enter in or set into this ARR value because it is fixed of integer type only. Okay, it is fixed. So we can't add any other type of data apart from integer array. So that is the limitation present in the array. And one more limitation which I wanted to tell you, that the size is fixed. Okay, so let's suppose in the auditorium and there are 10 seats. Okay, and there are 10 seats, and let's suppose 100 people came. Then how will you accommodate? There are no seats. There are no space. So you have thought of it like only 10 or 12 people may come. But let's suppose you are very famous and 100 people came into that auditorium. Then what will happen? How will you make them seated? They will stand or they will sit somewhere and they will listen to you, right? So you may feel uncomfortable, like I haven't made any arrangement for them, correct? So for that only we have to make an arrangement so that at run time, by looking at the audience, we can expand the amount of chairs or tables. Okay, so we have to accommodate a auditorium which is as much big, which is very much big, that it can accommodate 200 to 400 people, right? So we can take that much big auditorium. So you have thought of it like 10 to 12 people only can come, but it can accommodate up to 200 people. So you are having at runtime, you are having enough space to accommodate a lot of people into that audience. So let's suppose 10 people didn't came, 100 people came. So you can very easily accommodate all 100 people into that 200 people seated audience. Okay, so the maximum limit is 200. So you can add 100 people very easily. So there will be no issue at all. Okay, so the reverse can also happen. Okay, let's suppose, and that will be the disadvantage in case of collection. So let's suppose it's increasing in size. Okay, because size is coming at the cost of certain thing, right? So at the runtime, cost is increasing because size is increasing. Let's suppose you are taking rent on a particular auditorium which is having lesser capacity, then there the price will be lesser, okay, as compared to that auditorium which can accommodate 500 or 1000 people. So you only can understand, right? An auditorium which can accommodate 50 to 60 or maximum 100 people is will be having lesser prices compared to that auditorium which can accommodate 500 or 1000 people. So there is certain cost linked with that, correct? So that is the disadvantage with the help of collection. So if we know the size beforehand, okay, so let's suppose you have put up the registration form, and 20 people has filled the registration form. So you are knowing beforehand ki 20 people only can come, plus minus 5 or 10, that max it can happen, not more than that. So in that period of time, you can't take an auditorium which can accommodate 500 people or 1000 people, right? So only 20 people will be there to sit, and the rest 490 spaces will be remain empty. Okay, so you are bearing the cost of those 490 seats, right? You have to pay the rent of those 490 seats as well. Okay, so you are bearing the cost, and performance also will be impacted, right? Because those 490 seats are empty. So we have to understand the requirement and then only we have to implement. So what all things we have learned here? So we have learned about the things like if we know that only one type of data is allowed, then we will go for array, because array is best for that. So if we are already known that size will be fixed, like the size will not be more than 7, then we can have 7. Okay, maximum size is 7 allowed over here. Okay, if it is not known, you have not done any type of registration, you have given like open challenge, like any amount of people can come, then it's better to go with collection. Like you should have an accommodation of 500 or 1000 people, because you know that you are an influencer and you very lot of people are knowing you. Then 10 or 20 people will not come, right? Then there's a chance of 500 people or 700 people to come. So you should have that much space to accommodate that much people at runtime. Runtime means when the show is going on. So there is a chance that you are speaking on the stage and continuously people are coming over here, over there to listen to you, correct? So you should have that accommodation space available. So in that scenario, we should go with collection. And the most important thing is there should be a proper data structure. In collection, if you see, we are having a proper specific data structure. There will be a lot of data structure which will be available, like list, queue, and set. Okay, so each and every collection which you will be going to learn, they all will be having a specific data structure linked with them. Okay, all the collections will be having an internal inbuilt data structure, because of which there will be certain specific methods which will be ready-made be available to you. Okay, so in array list, so which is one of the part of the collection framework, in the collection there is a interface called list interface. Okay, so in that there is some ready-made methods already available, right? You can have add method to add elements into the list. there is a remove method to remove elements from the list. Okay, there is contains method to check whether the element is already present in the array list or not. But are these things present in arrays? No, right? In arrays, the size is fixed. Okay, and it allows only one type of data to accommodate. So let's suppose you are trying to add any other type of data, then it is not possible, right? And there is no inbuilt data structure available. There is no inbuilt data structure available. So if you want to add any element, if you want to remove any element, if you want to check whether data is present in the array or not, you have to write code for that. Okay. So in arrays, you have to write code for each and every logic which is coming to your mind. Addition into array, deletion from array, remove at specific element, removing at specified index, okay, or doing or any type of logic, whether the element is present in the array or not, any type of logic which you can think of. For those all logic, we have to write it. You have to write a code for that, because there is no specific underlying data structure present. So there is no inbuilt methods present in arrays. But in case of collection, it's not a case. Each and every collections interfaces which will be going through, there is some inbuilt data structure available for each and every collections, and there are implemented classes which implements those collections, and due to these interfaces implements collection interface, because of which they are having their own underlying data structure, because of which there are ready-made methods available for them to use. If you want to make use of adding elements to the list, you can go with add method. If I want to add another collection into existing collection, there is a method called add all method. If you want to remove elements, there is a remove method. If you want to check whether element is present or not, there is a contains method. If you want to add element at a specified index, then there is an overloaded method of add, where you can pass the index and you can pass the element which you want to add at a specified index. That also inbuilt method is present. So these are the advantages present with collection. But again, we will tell you that we have to decide based on upon our requirement whether we have to go for arrays or we have to go for array list of collection. Okay, so we have to see each and every scenarios before coming into conclusion. Directly, we can't jump onto array collection and going for array list because that is having so much benefits. No, we have to check whether data type is fixed or not, whether the requirement is having fixed data type or not, whether the requirement is having fixed size or not. So if size is already known beforehand, then there is no use of adding collection. Why? Let me tell you. So let me clear it. Okay, so in array, what is present is having fixed size, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's suppose six slots are present in array. 0 to 5 means 6 slots are available. Okay, so let's suppose integers can be put into it. Okay, so 6 integers are set into these array blocks. So after this, so let's suppose we are adding extra element here at 7th location. Okay, that means 6th index. If you are trying to add any other element, then in collection, do you know what will happen? If I'm going for collection here, then what will happen? Do you know? These all elements will be copied to another array. Okay, because array list contains internal inbuilt data structure is resizable array on. Okay, so internally array list is using array. Array list is a part of collection framework, right? So it can have a resizable array. So inbuilt data structure is array only. So if we are trying to add any other element at a different location, at the end location, which is outside this limit, then what will happen? All the elements will be copied in the different array. Okay, another array will be created in the memory. Okay, and those all elements will be added here one by one. Those all elements will be added here. Okay, and after adding, then it will create another block. Okay, and then that new element will be added over here, and then the size will become 7. So these all things are going on internally. So from outside, we are not able to guess what is going on, but internally, these many things are internally happening. Okay, so size, it is only one element you are adding, right? So internally, so many operations are going on. It is creating another array. It is copying the elements from the existing array to this new array, and then it is adding that element to the next block. So let's suppose it's only for 8 to 10 elements, it's fine. But let's suppose there are 1 crore elements or 10 crore elements or 10 crore objects are present. Then what will happen? In that scenario, 10 crore elements will be copied into the new array just for adding one element which is present at 10 crore one place. So much memory operations will be there. Okay. So that is the major disadvantage with collection. So it will take a lot of time to copy the data, then to add the data. Then why to go for that? Okay. So if we are knowing that this beforehand, this much space only is available, then it's better to go for arrays. Okay. Because array is having fixed size. So it will not copy to another array. Okay, so if you want to copy, then we have to write a separate logic. So internally, it can't create its own logic. If you know that in array, we can copy one array to another array, but we have to write logic to make it do. Internally, it doesn't do. Okay, but in collection, it does internally. It copies the data from one array to another array if the size is increasing. Because in array list, what is happening? As soon as the size is increasing its limit, then it doubles its size. So let's suppose the size is 6. So as soon as the size, it will understand the size is getting exceeded, then it will double its size to 12. Okay, so all elements will be copied and then one element will be copied here. So rest all the elements will be left empty. Rest all the spaces, 9 to 10 elements will be left empty. Okay, 9 to 10 blocks are empty because no elements are present. Only one element you are trying to insert. So that is a disadvantage which we can think of with respect to collection. Okay, so apart from this disadvantage, everything is good only with the help of collections. It has solved a lot of problems. 90% of the problem is solved. And we have to go for arrays only and only when we are knowing that only one type of data is available to insert and the size is fixed. So in that case, arrays are best option to take. But if the size is increasing or decreasing randomly at a runtime, it's a huge change, then it's better to go for array list. And this arrays will acquire only one type of data, either integer or float. We have to define it before only. But here in array list, we can add n number of objects. There will be no issue at all. Okay. If you want to add student object, that also you can add here. If you want to add customer object, that also you can add here. If you want to add string object, that also you can add here. Happily, it will add it. Okay. If you want to add any other type, it can happily add it. There will be no issue at all. Okay. So this is the brief overview of what is a collection, what is the advantages of collection, and how collection is different from arrays, which we have already learned. So the main thing is arrays are homogeneous in nature. Homogeneous means it will acquire only one type of data present within its data blocks. But collection framework and all the interfaces present in collection framework are heterogeneous in nature. That means it can accumulate n number of objects with n data types. And the size, it is internally making use of resizable array. So array will be resizable. Okay. So if they are having, if you can't accommodate a lot of people, then it will automatically increase its size. So we have given example of audience, right? So let's suppose you know that there is a chance of 300 to 400 people to come, but as of now, only 20 people or 50 people came. So you know that meeting is going to start in next 1 hour or 30 minutes. So you know that within 30 minutes, 400 people more will come. Okay, there is a chance. So for that, collection framework will be best option because chance average of accommodation is 100, right? So 100 people accommodation is present. So it's better to go with collection framework in that scenario. So now we'll be going with code to understand how it is working internally. Okay, so you will be having better idea of it. So let me stop my screen share. I hope you have written down the notes. So now I will go to my Eclipse. Okay, so I have created one Java project called collection framework. Okay, and within that, I am trying to show you one example of array list package dot java dot list. So there is nothing but the list is an interface. They are 9 key interfaces in collection framework, which we'll be telling you. So here, just for telling you to making you feel more comfortable with collection, here I am showing you how it is working internally. Okay. So as of now, you understand the list is an interface. Okay. List is an interface which extends collection interface. So there is another interface called collection interface. So there is something called collections and there is something called collection. So what's the difference between the two? We'll be knowing it. But first, understand how the code is working. So I will create one class. Okay. I will create one class with list example. Okay. Main method. So one specific class is getting created. So now I will be making use of list. So let me see, check how it is working internally. Let me show you. Okay. So I'm taking one array to show you the difference. Int array equal to 316,389. Integer elements I am taking into the integer array. Okay. And next what I am taking? Next I am taking list type. So if I want to add any other elements, will it be added here? If I want to add one string element, hi, see, it started throwing error, compile time error. Type mismatch, cannot convert from string to int. That means it's of integer array type. Okay. So integer arrays doesn't allow any other type of data. And one more thing I wanted to tell you, like arrays allows primitive type as well as object type. Any type of data it can allow. But collections doesn't allow primitive type. Okay. Collections allow only object type. So the object format of int is integer. Okay. There is something called as integer as well. If you want, you can create integer array as well. Okay. So name is different. I have to take, yeah. So see integer, you can see here integer. What is this integer? The integer class wraps a value of this primitive type int. Okay. So you can understand like integer is a wrapper class. It's a wrapper class which is of object type. Okay. So int is primitive type and integer is object type, which is the wrapper of int. Okay. So wrapper class, we will tell you wrapper class is nothing but it wraps the int type so that the data type gets converted from primitive type to non-primitive type so that it can be used with collections, because int is a primitive type. So int can't be used. Int, float, long, double, in where initials are small, right? So in float, if you see, the name is same, but how will you differentiate whether that float is a primitive type or object type? For primitive type, float first letter should be small f. But for object, wrapped object, if I see, wrapper class object of float will be capital FLOAT. Okay, so let me show you. There is something called FLOAT. Okay, so if I am creating float FL equal to 4.0F, so that this C it is taking. So what is this float? This wraps a value of primitive type float in the object. Okay. So it is this float, which is of capital letter F, is a wrapper class for small f float, which is primitive. Okay, so there is something called small f float as well. Float f2 equal to 4.7f. See, both it is taking, right? The small letter f is primitive type data. It's a primitive type. And this one is object type, which is the wrapper class object of float, small letter float. Okay, so this difference you should be very much clear. So here, what is there? We are making use of primitive type, and collections doesn't allow primitive type. So we have to use the wrapper class object of integer. So wrapper class object of this int is integer type. So this integer we have to make use of. Okay, so let me show you now what I will take. Integer array, it will not allow this. So I will remove it from here. I will add 7 int type. So now I'm trying to add the list type data. Now let's suppose we are making use of list interface. So we have to make use of list. So which package it is present? The list These collections are present in java.util package. So if I do this, it is showing java.util. So collections are present in java.util package. So we are imported java.util.list. So what type of data you want here? If I am passing here int, and let's suppose I am passing data al equal to new array list. Okay, why I did like this, list equal to new array list? Can you understand this, what I have done? Because array list is a part of list interface. Okay, array list is an implementation class of list interface. List is a interface. Okay, I sign is, you can see I sign of list, and array list is having C sign. Okay, so array list is a class which implements the list interface. So interface is very important here. Classes are just implementing the list. Classes are just implementing the interface and overriding and making the changes. But interfaces are very important in collections. Okay. So list is an interface and array list is a class or the implementation class of this list interface. Clear now? So now you can see if I'm adding int here, it is showing syntax error. Insert dimensions to complete reference type. So it is not allowing primitive type data. So I have to add here wrapper class data. So now it is happily taking, right? So now I am trying to add data. al.add. So I will add here 4. al.add. You can add high. So if I add high here, what will happen? See, integer is the wrapper class object, right? So we have to make use of add all. So still it will not take, okay, because add all takes collection type data. So I am passing here string, so it will not take that. Okay, so here I am passing generics. Okay, so this is called as generics, which will restrict the data type to enter into that list, because you know, right, collection can accommodate any type of data. So if I add a generics here, which is present in this braces, it will restrict the data type. So if we want to add integer type, it will not allow any other type of data. So if I remove this, see, now there is no error coming. Okay, so here warning signs will come, like type safety is not present, like you have not added generic type. So what type of data needs to be added? It is not provided. So that's why this type safety warning message will come, but it will run happily. There will be no compile time error here. Okay, so here you can see we have added integer, we have added string. Okay, there is no issue. We can add any other type of object. al.add. What we can add? We can add number float type 4.0f. See, it's working fine, right? It's working fine. So you know, right? Array list is internally making use of resizable array. Okay, and it's having underlying data structure. So it is having inbuilt methods as well. Okay, so these add methods are inbuilt methods present in this array list. Okay, so now what we have to do? I have to print it. Let me print the array list now. Let's see. If I print this array list, then what will happen? See, all data is coming into the list. 4, high, 4.0. These all three are of different data types, but it can be accommodated within the array list because it can take any amount of data. Okay, so we have not given the size also. If you can see here, I have nowhere given the size. It is automatically increasing at runtime. Okay, so based upon what value we are giving, it is automatically increasing its size. So there is no size limit over here. Okay, so that is the thing we have given, and we can print it like this, and this ARR also we can print it. Okay, so this integer array, if I add any other type of data, it will start throwing compile time error. But in this array list, can happily take any other type of data until and unless we are passing generics. So actually in the project level, if I see, we have to pass generics. We have to provide type safety because generics provides type safety. Okay, so if you provide a type safety, then what will happen? It will not allow any other type of data to come into it. So it will restrict if somehow you are trying to add student type of data or employee type of data, which is not required to be inserted in this list, then it will start throwing error at compile time. Ki, boss, you are trying to insert any other type of data, which is not allowed over here. So please try with some other values, which is compatible over here with list. So at compile time only, this will start throwing compile time error. So there you can very well change the values as per your need. But if you don't provide generics, it can take any value So you can't control the inputs. So the output may become inconsistent in that scenario. So the better option should be to provide the generics here. If I provide generics here, see, it started throwing compile time error. Integer is present, so you can't add string type. Okay, so here what issue it is showing? You are passing float here. See, here it is printing, right? The method add integer in the type list of integer is not applicable for the argument float. Hey boss, you are trying to add float, but you have set it as integer in generics. So it is not possible to add float type. So we have to remove it. Otherwise, this generics will not allow. So now it will happily run. See, now perfect data will come. So here let me print the ARR as well. ARR. So if I print this ARR, so here what is happening? Here it is printing the hash code value of this. Okay, it is not printing the exact value, it is printing the hash code value. So what can we do to resolve this issue? We can make use of for each. We can run a loop for that in I equal to 0, I less than ARR dot length, I plus plus. And within this, we can add system.out.println ARR of I. So now if I print it, see data is coming 316789. Okay. So if I want in one single line, that also you can do. You can provide space here. So if I run it, see data is coming. So these things are the disadvantages in array. In array list, we didn't have to write a specific logic, a loop to print the values of array list, right? Because internally it is making use of integer type. Okay, so integer type means internally it is overriding toString method. So internally it is printing the data. But here we have to provide the implementation to print the arrays. So we have to write a loop, then we can print arrays. So for each and everything in arrays, we have to write logic for that, for copying the elements, for printing the elements, for making change in elements, like adding elements or removing elements, or checking the value present or not in the arrays. Everything, for everything, we have to write logic in arrays. But in case of list or collections interfaces, that is not the case. There are inbuilt method which comes with default methods, and those ready-made default methods can be used to make our life easier. Like to add methods, we can add all or add method. There is a remove method. So if I see here, if I do al dot, there are a lot of methods present. See, add, add at a particular index if you want to add element, add all if you want to add collections. So these are overloaded methods of add. Add is having two overloaded methods, add all is having two overloaded methods, clear method, contains method to check whether the object is present in that array list or not. Contains all, it will check whether the list of collections are present is in that existing collection or not. Equals for each method is also present. Okay, so to get the data from this array list, hash code, each and every inbuilt methods are present, which makes our life easier. So in arrays, for each and every methods which you can see here, these all ready-made methods has to be written with a specific logic to implement in arrays. But in case of array list, these all logics are internally implemented by Java people only. We just have to utilize those methods. We have to, these are utility methods which we can just make use of it in our code, and we can just implement it. Just we have to think about the logic. We don't have to think about these basic things, how to write the logic for adding, how to write the logic for checking the contents with method, how to write logic for running the loop to print. Those are logics we don't have to think. These are basic level things. We have to think the business requirements logic, and just we have to put it in the collection and we can execute that. So this collection makes our life more simpler and easier. So I hope you have understood now what are collection framework, what's the difference between arrays and array list, which is a part of collections. Okay. So basic level overview I have given to you. So in the next lecture, we'll be discussing about the collection hierarchy. Okay, what is a collection framework? What are the 9 key interfaces present in collection framework? What is a collection hierarchy? We will go step by step. Okay, so till then, practice make some changes in this array list code and try to implement on your own. Okay, some new logic you try to do. You have seen a lot of methods, right, in array list. Try to implement all this method by yourself and see what is happening. Then you will get the real enjoyment of making use of these methods. Okay, so till then, stay tuned, practice all these things, and we'll see you in the next class. Bye bye.